Welcome to Gossip About Gossip, powered by Hedera Hashgraph. In each episode, we'll cut through the hype of blockchain promises and explore real-world examples of organizations creating the next generation of decentralized applications, which will bring trust back to the internet for us all.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the latest episode of Gossip About Gossip, the podcast where we talk about real-world applications of distributed ledger technology. As you know, my name is Zenobia Godschalk, and I'm the SVP of Communications here at Swirlds Labs, helping to grow the Hedera ecosystem. Today, I am joined by Lawton Hogan, who is the Senior Product Manager over at Meterium. Hi, Lawton. How are you?
Hi, Zenobia. I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me on the podcast. I'm really excited to do the episode.
Awesome. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself and also about Meterium.
Sure, absolutely. Let me start with Meterium. So our journey really began with TOKO, which, as you'll know, I'm sure is DLA Piper's enterprise-grade tokenization engine. And so TOKO was really primarily aimed and still is aimed at financial services and regulated activities. But, as we were speaking with clients and potential clients, we realized that there was a real untapped opportunity at the retail level as well. So obviously corporate adoption of Web3, it's still really in its infancy. And at least part of the reason for this is down to concerns about, bad actors and the lack of solutions that really take a kind of a compliance first approach. So, it was really to address this that we created Meterium, which is a white label token-based marketplace solution. And it empowers brands to own and operate their own marketplaces where they can issue tokens that represent specifically physical products, experiences, and also collectibles. And they can issue those directly to consumers. And then it also allows those consumers to buy, sell, and trade with one another. And that's Meterium. And I'm working there as the senior product manager. And I'm essentially in charge of overseeing the developmental roadmap.
Okay, so I am a brand. I am hearing that my competitors are, tokenizing things. Hey, they're making a lot of money for creating these digital assets. How would someone start working with you, or what, a lot of times they don't even know where to begin. So it sounds like you're really helping them. They know their product, they know their brand. Can you walk us through, how do they work with you and how would you help them?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. That's a really good question. Our kind of initial outlook had been that we wanted to create a platform that was, super easy to set up, super easy to use, and be able to just kind of pass it over to the marketing team or the sales team for a given brand and kind of let them run their own campaigns right away. But actually what we found as we've engaged with some of our current clients and some of our potential clients is that actually, a lot of brands kind of do need a little bit of help in thinking about how they can use this technology and how they can use tokenization to really kind of, increase awareness of their brands, increase revenue, and all of those things. So the way that we're working with people right now is we're taking a little bit more of a hands-on approach. So essentially, somebody gets in contact with us and, we'll start a conversation and as long as they're interested, normally what we will do is run them through a few training sessions and make sure that they're comfortable with the technology itself. And like I said, we did, really intentionally set things up to be kind of as intuitive as possible. It really follows a pretty basic kind of e-commerce type of user journey. And so setup is really simple, but we will also try and take an active role. If the client wants, we'll take a really active role and kind of helping them design their first campaigns. And then I think ideally what we would love to happen is, once we've helped them run their first campaign, then at that point, we're kind of ready to say, okay, you've got the technology, you know how this works now, you know how to use it. So, go out there and use it. That's kind of how we're engaging at the moment.
And so without naming any names, maybe if you can walk us through what have some of those campaigns looked like, or what kinds of campaigns are brands working on?
Yeah, sure. So, interestingly, what we found recently is that the tokens that represent experiences. So really, you can think of this almost as a blockchain enabled, or a Hashgraph rather enabled ticketing kind of solution. That has actually gotten a lot of traction with clients that we're talking to, and we do have clients that are focusing a little bit more on the tokens, the sort of phygital tokens, so tokens that represent actual physical products. We do have some clients who are going more in that direction, so creating tokens that represent ownership of generally quite rare to very rare items. But yeah, like I said, really we've gotten a lot of traction on the experience side. So brands that are, for example, we're working with an artist who is using tokens to represent actually lessons that he's giving. He's a pretty well-known artist. He has a large following, and there are people that are interested in having being able to have a lesson with him. So he's using tokens to represent those lessons. And then we have a couple of potential clients that we're working with who are looking to do things like enable a user to actually like take a ride in a Formula One car, and some things like this. So these are the kind of experiences, kind of physical products that clients are looking to create tokens for right now.
Very cool. And how did you decide to build on the Hedera platform and work with TOKO?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, I mean, really, we kind of have Hedera to thank for Meterium in the first place, because as I had mentioned, TOKO, the beginning of Meterium, really, it started in conversations within TOKO. And so Meterium, I should say specifically, Meterium uses TOKO APIs to do our tokenization. And so TOKO actually was able to get a grant from Hedera to develop those APIs that we now use. So really we have Hedera to thank for the beginnings of Meterium, really going all the way back to the start of the project. And really I have to say that it's been one of the eye-opening things to me, just what a big impact saying that we're working with TOKO, tokenization engine owned by DLA Piper, and specifically the protocol we're using is Hedera, fast, very cost-friendly, eco-friendly platform. This has gone, a really long way for us in getting into the more, getting past the first step of conversations, because in so many companies at this point, the marketing team might be really interested, but as soon as you hit compliance, that can be a real wall. But right. Using TOKO and using Hedera, it's really helping us to, push through that barrier.
That's fantastic. And on the product development side, can you walk us through a little bit of that experience and how that has been?
Yeah. So really, the product development has gone great. So I've worked on a number of products in my career, and I have to say that this one has been really refreshing for me, because I think the vision for the product was really clear really early on, and it really hasn't changed much. For any other product development teams out there, everybody knows that scope creep is a real issue. It's an issue for every product, but I think as long as your vision is clear and tight, it makes it much easier to kind of prioritize. And that's what we have really been striving to do. Make sure that we're prioritizing the most important features, and making sure that we get to those first in the roadmap. So at this point, the development is going exceptionally well, and we're in the process of looking to secure funding to fund the rest of our roadmap, which I have to say is pretty ambitious, and includes a lot of things like additional wallet integrations, ecosystem development, and also education-related modules. One of our missions and visions for Meterium is to really be onboarding people onto Web3, and to be providing some education in that process. And so we're looking for funding to help us fund that roadmap. And so far the positive responses that we've had from potential customers, has been really encouraging.
Fantastic. And if you were to go back, if you were to tell a developer who's just starting out their journey, any tips or tricks or recommendations?
Absolutely. Probably several, actually. I think the first tip that I would throw out there is to make sure that you understand the difference between a proof of concept and an MVP, and know that taking that leap can be more difficult than you think. It's one thing to have put something together where you can demonstrate that, hey, look, this is something that we can do. It's another thing to then take that to enterprises and say, hey, let us do this for you. That's a much larger jump than I think people appreciate sometimes, and you really do have to understand kind of those compliance barriers that you're going to run into. So that would be one piece of advice: is don't underestimate those challenges. Another one would be, basically don't fall into the trap of kind of over-promising and under-delivering. I think a lot of us, particularly when you're in a new space, everything is really exciting, and you see it as the sky is the limit, and it really is. But you have to understand that keep in mind what you can do within a reasonable period of time, and make sure you're not selling the moon if you can't deliver that, because at the end of the day, that doesn't make anybody happy.
That's right. And I think, there's been such a rebuilding of credibility that has been required for this entire industry. And so the first time you go to an enterprise and engage with them, you need to make sure that they believe that what you can do is realistic and then deliver on it, right? And that's how you rebuild that trust, both for our whole industry as well as for your individual project. Build that from day one.
Yeah, 100%.
And Lawton, tell us a little bit. You've already talked about some of the, exciting things and projects that you are having conversations with. Tell us a little bit about the roadmap and where you all see developing out the platform. You talked a little bit about wallets, but other things that you're starting to hear from customers that you plan to build in within the next, say, 12 months?
Yeah. Let me do that. So, as I mentioned, wallet integrations and, like I mentioned, some education-related features helping people onboard into Web3. Like I said, I think I said we're also looking to expand the ecosystem. So we're getting more directly involved into ticketing. So like I mentioned, those experience tokens, we're seeing really a lot of interest on that side particularly. So we're looking to continue to build that out and improve those user journeys. We're also talking to a number of large clients around loyalty and loyalty programs. So we're looking to develop out that piece of the ecosystem as well. And then more kind of on the business side, I think in the coming months, so let's say the next 2 to 3 months, I think that you can expect to see multiple Meterium-powered brand marketplaces and strategic partnerships popping up. We're really excited about those. I guess the only other thing to mention is we're looking to expand our distribution network and enhance our ability to engage with corporates. So, I think those are the main items that we're looking to tackle over the next, let's say, 3 to 12 months.
Fantastic. Well, Lawton, we are rooting for you all on your journey. We hope you'll come back and continue to share your progress with us. And thank you so much for spending time with us today.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Zenobia. Really appreciate it. It was great to be here.